On the second afternoon of our voyage to New York, we received a message on the new wireless telegraph. It arrived during a storm while we were 500 miles from the French coast. The message said, "Arsène Lupin is on board your ship, travelling alone in first class. He has fair hair and a wound on his right arm. His alias begins with the letter R." This was supposed to be a secret, of course. You can normally rely on the absolute discretion of telegraph officers and cabin crew. But some news is too sensational to hide for long. By the end of the day, we all knew that the notorious gentleman burglar was hiding amongst us. The mysterious Lupin was a man of 1,000 disguises. One day he was a chauffeur, the next an opera singer. Sometimes he appeared as a frail old man, other times as a young athlete. He had been a Russian doctor, a Spanish bullfighter, and now he was here on the first-class deck of the SS La Provence. That gentleman over there might be Lupin, or this one standing near, perhaps even one of the passengers at our dining table. "We have 5 more days until we reach New York," said Miss Nellie Underdown at breakfast the following day. "I do hope they catch him." She turned to me. "Have you heard anything, Monsieur d'André?" "Me?" "Yes, you are good friends with the captain," she said, with a beautiful smile. "Alas, no, I have no news," I replied sadly. I so wanted to please Nellie Underdown, the most glorious creature under the sun. She was travelling to Chicago to stay with her father, the American millionaire, Chuck Underdown. A friend, Lady Gerland, was chaperoning her on the voyage. The rapid intimacy of ocean travel meant we spent many hours together. Her lovely dark eyes seemed to look upon me with favour as she laughed at my jokes and listened to my stories. I did have a rival though, a Monsieur Rosin. He was a good-looking fellow, well-dressed and polite. I suspected she might prefer him to a Parisian social butterfly like me. During the afternoon, after the storm cleared, we all went back on deck, sitting in comfortable chairs gathered around Miss Nellie. She was speaking to me, but my rival was listening. "Well," I said, "what would old Ganimard do?" I referred to, of course, to the detective leading the hunt for Lupin. "We should consider the clues in the telegram," I continued. "We know that he is travelling alone in first class under a name which begins with the letter R." I produced a piece of paper from my pocket. "On this list there are only 13 male passengers whose names begin with the letter R. 9 are ruled out because they are accompanied." "Only 13? 13 in first class. That leaves just 4 passengers travelling alone. We have the Marquis de Ravardin." "I know him," said Miss Nellie. "Major Rawson." "That's my uncle," said one of her admirers. "A Signor Rivolta." "I'm here," said a man with a big black beard. Miss Nellie laughed loudly. "I wouldn't call Signor Rivolta fair." I looked again at the list. "That only leaves us with Monsieur Rosin. Does anyone know this gentleman?" No one answered, but Miss Nellie turned to the silent, handsome young man standing next to her. Well, Monsieur Rosin, what do you have to say to us? All eyes were now staring at the fair-haired Monsieur Rosin. We sat in awkward silence, waiting for Rosin's response. He looked at us with a strange expression on his face. Well, he said, I am travelling alone. Conclusive proof. Is there a policeman on board? Tell him to arrest me. As he spoke, his thin, pale lips grew thinner and paler still. His eyes were bloodshot. Monsieur Rosin seemed to be joking, but we were all uneasy. Do you have a wound? Asked Miss Nelly quietly. He shook his head. I do not, he said. Then with a nervous movement, he pulled up his shirt cuff. There was no wound on his left arm. My eyes met those of Miss Nelly. What about the right arm? At that moment, a very agitated woman came running up to us. This was Lady Gerland, Miss Nelly's chaperone. We crowded around her. What's happened? My jewels have been stolen. All my most beautiful pearls were taken this morning while we were having breakfast. The thief somehow broke into my cabin and found where I had hidden the box. And he only chose the smallest jewels with the highest value. Lupin, we cried.